This is an ABSN original series.
Long before modern stadiums and televised competitions, sprawling gatherings of people met upon broad plazas, their attention fixed on games of agility, strategy, and ritual harmony. These were the arenas of the Mississippi world societies built of mound centers, maze fields, and complex ceremonial life. Here, among the earthen platform, mounds, and open fields, sport was not mere leisure. It was woven into politics, cosmology, training, and the very identity of people. One of the most compelling of these games is known as chunkey, a contest of precision, spectacle, and at times very high stakes. Players would roll large disc-shaped stones across the ground, then hurl spears and sticks at them, aiming to land as close as possible to the resting stone. At sites like Cahokia, near present-day St. Louis, arenas used for chunking may have stretched for hundreds of feet, and archaeologists have found evidence that the game drew large crowds.
They found here that huge continuum. We ended up with over 2.5 million items that this dig found in this location. We discovered it had a time period that goes back to the Ice Age mammoth hunters, and this site was then used ever since that first arrival of humans here in the southeast. So it's Okmulgee National Monument, referred to locally as the Indian Mounds, but the park is so much more than mounds. It is once again the whole prehistory of the southeast. The mounds were built by a group that the archaeologists call the Mississippian people. Mississippian culture is a very widespread culture. Its actually hub is near St. Louis at a place called Cahokia, and that philosophy, that mound building religion or whatever it was, spread throughout the eastern half of the United States. Okmulgee is kind of considered the hub of the Mississippian culture here in the southeast. Kind of like, I guess maybe a sub-capital to the main capital there at Cahokia. And this society, the Mississippians, existed on this site for over 300 years. Now, after that period of time, for some reason they left this site. We have no idea why, what happened, if it was change in climate, change in religious beliefs, or or what. Maybe it might have been warfare, who knows.
But chunky was not the only athletic pursuit. According to the National Park Service research, Mississippian peoples also played a ball game somewhat analogous to modern lacrosse. Two opposing teams used wooden rackets to throw a small leather ball down a large playing field and tried to score by tossing the ball between two vertical posts. These games carry layers of meaning. They could serve as preparation for hunting or warfare. They could reinforce alliances between communities. They could be stages for political authority and ritual display. When a game field was laid out, spectators gathered. The air crackled with expectation, and the stakes could be nothing short of life and honor. Imagine the field, a level clearing beds beside the mound plaza, players dressed in ritual paint or special regalia. The disc stone set rolling down the track, its momentum, something to be read and anticipated. The throw follows silhouette of motion, spears flying. The closest spear wins, judges, spectators, wagers, not simply for fun, but the ripples of ceremony, politics, and identity. In some versions, the stones themselves were highly valued, passed down through the generations, kept safe between games. At the same time, iconography of the Mississippian world, copper plates, shell gorgets, mound sculptures depict what scholars interpret as chunky players, often associated with warrior imagery and ritual motives. Alongside the individual contest nature of chunky, team sports emerged too. The ball game documented by researchers involved two teams, a small leather ball, rackets, or similar wooden implements, and scoring by propelling the ball through vertical posts. The field would stretch across the flat plaza space of a mound center. Communities would challenge each other. Spectators lined the sides, perhaps wagering or showing support. The game would test stamina, strategy, coordination, much like stickball games carried on in later centuries among Southern indigenous nations.
Talk about the king of sports in southern Mexico. Most people, including archaeologists in the United States, were not aware that stickball was the king sports in Teotihuacan and societies under its domination in southern Mexico. As seen at left, the sport was played with sticks identical to those used to play hurling since at least the Bronze Age in Ireland and Scotland. Okay. Mesoamerican stickball fields were usually horseshoe shaped and could be as large as an American football field or even an Irish hurling field. Most had earth banks on the sides where spectators sat or stood. Hurling utilizes goalposts similar to those in American football, but smaller. Mesoamerican stickball probably used goalposts, but it is not known for certain. Well, it is known that they did use goalposts in Mesoamerica as they did in the southeastern United States. While on my fellowship in Mexico, I encountered several horseshoe-shaped playing fields in southern Veracruz and the coastal regions of Tabasco and Campeche states. Southern Mexico were identical to those found in the South, as we say, in America, in North America. Goes on to say, Cyrus Thomaston says, Thomaston steered his horse directly past what is the entrance to my development to visit extreme northwest corner of Habersham County. He discovered dozens of mysterious structures that were unlike what he had seen in the Midwest. These included a terraced earthen pyramid, smaller earthen mounds, stone veneered mounds, and megaliths, and a large horseshoe-shaped ball court the size of a football field. There it is again. And he's still in Georgia, by the way. See the article. So it says here they basically built a fire department on top of what was the playing field, but they used a LiDAR scans. So I guess it basically depict what it would have looked like or should have looked like. But you can go read this article for yourself if you would like. Very detailed in what the discovery was. Absolutely fascinating. Ancient stadiums in Georgia. Check it out.
Why these games? Because in the Mississippi world sport, ritual and society were intertwined. A large gathering for a game could coincide with feasting, alliance making, ceremonial renewal. The open plaza of Mound site was a multifunctional space for politics, for ceremony, for gathering. Sport was one of its modes. Some specialists suggest that the grand game served to integrate populations, create a shared identity across large chiefdoms, and reinforce the social order. The presence of spectators, the importance of the field, the use of value objects in the games, all hint at more than recreation. As European contact and colonial disruption swept across the Southeast, many of these sporting traditions changed, faded, or were transformed, yet echoes remain. In the games of later Southeastern tribes, in the archaeology of plateau fields and mound plazas, and in the stone game pieces still found today, the disc stones, often called discodals, from Mississippian state sites are tangible reminders of these ancient moments of competition and ceremony. Standing on the ridge above a great plaza, one can imagine the flush participation, the boom of a rolling stone, the collective gasp of the crowd. Sport in the Mississippian world was no sideline, it was central. And studying it, we glimpse a civilization whose fields were as much arenas as their mounds were centers of power. The game began.